Hi, Terry Franks here. Welcome back to my channel, Prescott Voice. Please don't forget to hit those subscribe, like, and share buttons. Imagine being raped and then kidnapped and then facing the horrific possibility of becoming pregnant in captivity. This is the terrifying reality of women that are held captive by Hamas. 9 months ago, 12 women were kidnapped by Hamas. As time passes, the possibility of pregnancy in captivity surfaces. It's a very real possibility. And rape has been systematically used in wartime to annihilate populations. It's hard for us in the US to think about such a thing because we're really insulated here, at least for now. From attacks by ISIS in Iraq and Syria to the mass rapes in former Yugoslavia and Rwanda, the psychological consequences are devastating. Rape survivors suffer from anxiety, depression, PTSD, and other severe mental illnesses. The trauma is compounded when women are exposed to other violent events while being held captive, like assault, torture, and murder. They're seeing things that we would never see here in the US. And yet, you have all of these people that are out there supporting Hamas and Hezbollah here in the US. They're supporting these monsters that have committed these rapes, brutal murder, the murder of entire families. It's really a tough thing to take in. And yes, are there children being killed in Gaza? Sure. There's always collateral damage in war. What did you expect the Israelis to do? To just stand down and allow Hamas to come in to invade their country and wipe out more than 1,200 people and then take captives, rape them, with the possibility now of them becoming pregnant? We just don't know what's going on there right now. We are praying for their release. But medical professionals in Israel are preparing for that very real possibility of pregnancies committed by Hamas terrorists, individuals. I can't even think about how they are coping right now. So a new medical document highlights the issues, these very issues, which was published in the latest issue of a journal by the Israeli Medical Association. It was authored by Dr. Leah Shelef and psychiatrist Dr. Gil Salzman. The review emphasizes the importance of respecting the victim's decision whether to continue or terminate a pregnancy. And in many cases, it may be too late. It's been 9 months that these women have been held captive. Can you just imagine it? The transition from captivity to freedom also can be overwhelming and requiring sensitive and supportive care of all kinds, from medical teams, family, friends, faith-based organizations. If there was ever a reason for abortion, this would be it. Here in the US, we can't imagine something like this happening on such a widespread scale, much less being held captive and abused for the entire pregnancy by a brutal terrorist organization with individuals that are lower than animals. They are demonic and evil. Here in the US, rather than being sexually and morally responsible adults, many of the babies in pregnancy are aborted just for the inconvenience of it all. These women, on the other hand, that were taken by Hamas into captivity and perhaps are pregnant now, that's a whole different story. Here in the US, we abort en masse. Just one baby after the other, millions and millions of babies. Now, I'm not saying there aren't reasons for abortion in rare cases, but we do it wholesale here. They say the most dangerous place for a baby in the US, or really globally now, is in the mother's womb. So in many conflicts across the Middle East and Africa, rape is used as a weapon of war. We have no concept of that here in the US. This is the case of Hamas. They use Captagon for their terrorist individuals that go in to kill, rape, and just brutalize people. The drug Captagon causes them not to have any conscience. They don't have to eat, they don't sleep, they don't care what they are doing. It is a amphetamine, a dangerous one, which has been outlawed here in the US. I believe it was the 1960s it was outlawed, but this is what these groups do. And this same tactic was used in World War II with the Nazi regime. Nothing's changed. There is nothing new under the sun. Satan has been after the Jews since Genesis 1:1. It has not stopped. So Hamas, Hezbollah, all of Israel's enemies, it's Satan behind all of it. That's what's going on here. So militants like Hamas and armed groups employ sexual violence to terrorize and control populations, destroy community bonds, and exert their power. The documentary Screams Before Silence further explores the harrowing experience of these Israeli women that were brutally raped and murdered by Hamas. If you haven't watched the film, which is available on YouTube, I'll provide a link in the description for you. You should watch it. It's something that you'll never forget. The documentary provides a voice to the women who have endured such unimaginable trauma, shedding light on their stories and the brutal reality of rape and pregnancy in captivity. The possibility of pregnancy in captivity adds another layer of horror for Israeli women that were kidnapped and raped by Hamas. And who knows if they're being brutally raped over and over again during their captivity. The physical and psychological impacts are profound, and the path to recovery is long and challenging, if they ever do recover. I don't know that I could ever recover from something like that. It would be a very hard thing. I mean, if you give birth while you're there, what do you do with the baby? A detailed review in this medical journal has brought these issues to light, stressing the need for preparedness in treating these victims when they are finally released and back home. By shedding light on this really grim reality, I hope to raise awareness and advocate as much as I can here from the U.S. for the necessary support and intervention for these brave women. If we can give to organizations that support them, do it. Prayer. We need to pray for these women. What has been done to these women is beyond evil, and one day in the future, God, Yahweh God, will exact his perfect justice on these demonic, barbaric individuals. My heart goes out to these women. Can you just imagine what it's like being held captive in Gaza, having morning sickness, for example, after having been raped by your enemy who wants to kill you and your family, and every Jew on the planet that wants to wipe your state off the map. We cannot even fathom that here. But you know what? Hamas is planning that very thing here in the U.S. Our borders are porous, the hedge is down, and they're pouring across like there's no tomorrow. Trust me when I say that there are terrorist organizations here. There are Hamas terrorists here and Hezbollah terrorists here today, and probably are planning exactly the same thing. But the bottom line is, Satan has been behind the attack on the Jewish people from the very beginning. These terrorists will not survive in the end. It may not be today, may not be tomorrow. In the end, God, he will obliterate them all. There won't be any enemies left of Israel. None, not a one, because the Word of God talks about that clearly. So be praying for these women and try to think about what they might be going through and what would we do if we were in their shoes. Leave me a comment, and thank you for watching.